Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Tenyi deck profile. So Tenyi is really fastly becoming one of my favorite decks of all time because it is extremely budget, and also it has some of the coolest artwork, in my opinion, next to the Dragon Ruler monsters. It's just really, really awesome. I mean, look at him. He looks like a Kuma from Street Fighter. Like, how much cooler can that get? So it's a really awesome deck. Really, really cool. Makes synchro monsters, makes link monsters, which are two of my favorite mechanics of all time. And let's get into this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell down there so you can come part of notification squad, and let's get straight on into it. But this deck is actually really budget as well. You can get the entire main deck for about 40 bucks. And the majority of the extra deck for just about the same, besides some of the staple stuff like Boral Sword and stuff like that, which might even be cheaper after the Megatons come out and everything like that. Depends on what their prices are, which you guys probably already know them by now, because I record my deck profiles a little bit in advance. So first off, we're going to be playing the Dark Tenyi Spirit. All the Tenyi monsters share the ability that if you control no effect monsters, you can special summon them from the hand. And then this one's particular effect is that you can banish this card from your hand or grave, then target a card your opponent controls and return it to the hand, which is really cool, and it's really pivotal that this one is a level 7 because it allows us to go into level 8 synchros. So then we play 3 copies of the Wind Tenyi Spirit. If you control no effect monsters, you can special summon it from your hand, and then when an attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster and your opponent's face-up monster, you can banish this card from your hand or grave, and then your opponent's all your opponent's monsters or that opponent's monster loses 1500 attack until the end phase of the turn. Then I play 3 copies of the Fire Tenyi monster as well. I absolutely love these artworks. Like, they are fantastic. Like, I saw this deck when it came out, and I was like, I am definitely getting a hold of this deck. This one's effect is that when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from your hand or grave and then negate the activation if you do destroy the monster or destroy the card, which is really cool to be able to negate all those cards and effects. Then I play 3 copies of the Water Tenyi Spirit. This one's effect is really awesome. If a face-up non-effect monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish this card from your hand or grave and then target one of those destroyed monsters. If multiple are destroyed, you can just target one as well. And then special summon it and then destroy one monster your opponent controls. So it punishes your opponent for destroying your monsters, which is really cool. Then I play 3 copies of the Tenyi Spirit of Earth. If you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from your grave and hand or grave, and then target one of your banished worm monsters and add it back to your hand, which is really pivotal to this deck to be able to add them back. And also, this is a tuner to go into your level 8 synchro monsters, which is really easy to go from this into this and then go into an 8. Which is really, really, really easy and really fun to be able to go up into those plays, which is really beneficial to you as well. Then I play 2 copies of Mare, which I will be releasing a live duel video of me dueling with this, and I do misplay with Mare because I did not realize I've never played with another deck with Mare in it. And it was kind of one of those obscure, weird cards to me that I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. And I thought, oh, I can make as many tokens as I want. So I ended up making like 6 tokens in one turn, which I misplayed. You can only use Mare's effect up to thrice per turn, which is the only card in the entire game that actually says that. And it was one of the first times I dueled with this deck. So definitely be on the lookout for that live duel, but just keep in mind I did misplay during the live duel. And I really quickly want to give an apology out to Lane, my buddy who I was dueling against. I totally crushed him in that duel, but I totally misplayed. I shouldn't have gotten as many tokens as I did, but it didn't change all... I mean, it changed a little bit of the duel, but it didn't change all that much. I still had an overwhelming board, and I still would have had an overwhelming board. I ended the turn with like 3 tokens on the board. So, it happened. I do apologize about it, but keep out for the lookout for that video. So, Mare is something that you can do really, really easily by special summoning it by the effect of a worm monster, which is extremely easy to do in this deck with the effects of some of your Tenyi monsters to be able to just special summon them instantly out with your Tenyi Shaman to be able to discard a monster and then target a worm monster in your grave and instantly special summon it. So if you hard draw your Mare, you just discard it. If you have another Tenyi monster in your grave, and then re-special summon it right back onto the field, but you have to have another worm monster in the grave. It's kind of like Cyber Dragon, Nova, and Red Eyes Flare Metal, where you already have to have either a Red Eyes or a Cyber Dragon in the grave to revive the same one that you detached. But this one's effect is you have to discard the Mare and already have one of your Tenyis in the grave, which is going to happen because you summoned the Shaman, and you had to link 2 for it. to then special summon Mare, which is extremely easy to do. Then we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom for the last 3 monsters of the deck, which is really cool to be able to play Ash Blossom here, to be able to just hand trap your opponent and be able to stop them from doing all sorts of shenanigans. So that's it for the main deck monsters. Let's get into the spells. So yeah, it was funny actually, because after I looked at the replay and I was like, wait a minute, how many tokens did I summon? It was just, it was funny. So I'm going to upload it because I did make a mistake, but it's going to be fun. 3 copies of Call by the Grave because you want to stop your opponent from hand trapping you and stuff like that while you're going. For the 1-ofs, we're playing 1 copy of Terraforming, a Monster Reborn, 1 for 1. It's like playing 4 of the Tenyi Water Spirit. Since they gain effects if you banish them from the graveyard by particular things, I play 1 copy of Foolish Burial because they do benefit off of being Foolish Burialed, and 1 copy of World Legacy Succession. Now this card is optional that I'm playing next, but I threw it in here. I hate Pot of Desires, but I am playing 2 copies of Pot of Desires because they all special summon themselves, and there's not a particular card that I have to have in my deck. Pot of Desires, and I'm gonna go on a quick rant. Pot of Desires sucks in decks that have combo pieces, because you run the risk of banishing your combo pieces. But Pot of Desires is not a bad card in decks that don't have combo pieces. This deck does not have a particular combo piece. So I play Pot of Desires in here because I'm really not worried about what I banish at all. I banish, 1 of each Tenyi, and I'm down to 2 each, and I still have cards to play. It baits Ash Blossom as well, which is fine if I banish 10 and I don't get my +1, which is really a -9, but whatever. But I'm really not a fan of Pot of Desires, but I'm playing it as a 2-of in this deck because I want to be able to draw. You could play 1 Pot of Desires and cut this deck down to 40 on the dot, but this is a 41 card build. But you could cut Pot of Desires down to 1 if you wanted to, so you don't Desires into a Desires, but I wanted to see it a little bit more often to draw more cards, so I played 2 Pot of Desires in my build. Then I play 3 copies of Vessel of the Dragon Cycle. This card is really good, and this deck is going to change when the new support comes out for it in the next set. But in this deck is going to continue to get support for a little while, I think. But you send a worm monster from your deck to the grave. Then if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 Tenyi monster with a different name as the one you sent to the grave. So it sets up your grave, and it lets you add a Tenyi from your deck to your hand, which this card is just good for no reason. Then we play 3 copies of the field spell, which is Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, which they are pretty perfect. All non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. It just makes them all immune to monster effects. That's ridiculously good. And then once per turn, if your opponent special summons an effect monster, while you control a face-down monster or non-effect monster, except during the damage step, you can draw 2 additional cards. So if you control a non-effect monster, you instantly get to draw 2 cards. Like, that's crazy good. That is crazy good as an effect. So that's it for the spells. Let's get into the traps. And we do actually play 5 traps in the deck. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Waterfall of the Dragon's Soul, and 3 copies of Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi. So what these do is this pretty much searches our Tenyi monsters from our deck to our hand. All of our worm monsters get directly added from our deck to our hand. And then if we have a little bit of a break, which doesn't happen in this deck ever, but if I draw 2 of my worm monsters at the same time and I don't want them, I can flip this card to send any number of worm monsters from my hand and or face up from my field to the graveyard, and then I get to draw an equal number of monsters that I sent to the graveyard +1. So if I just send 1 Tenyi monster from my hand to the grave, I get to draw 2 cards. If I send 3, I get to draw 4 cards. So this Waterfall of the Dragon Soul is a good 2-of in the deck. I probably wouldn't play it more than 2 because I don't want to see it all the time, but it's a good searcher as a generic searcher for my monsters. And this deck has so many searchers, it's ridiculous. So Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi is super, super cool. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated while you control a face-up non-effect monster, I get to instantly negate it. But the awesome effect is, and that you have to keep in mind about this card is that you can, if it's destroyed by a card effect, like if your opponent blind MSTs you or blind Twin Twisters you and hits it, you can special summon any non-effect monster from your extra deck, which, as I understand the ruling, I can special summon Blue Eyes Ultimate. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as I do understand the ruling, I don't think I'm wrong, but I could be, and you guys can tell me down in the comments. But you can special summon Blue Eyes Ultimate because this is a non-effect monster from my extra deck. And you just instantly go, hey, 4,500. Whoa, that is crazy. That's why I love this deck so much, is because every time you think you've got him, you don't. Because, like, you hit my back row, I'm either going to negate you, or I'm going to summon Blue Eyes Ultimate. Make your choice. Like, it's going to do something. You can't rival me, because I'm the unrivaled fist of the Tenyi. So, that's it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So first off, for the extra deck, we're going to go through the Tenyi Link monsters. I played 2 copies of Berserker of the Tenyi. This card requires 2 monsters, including a Link monster to summon, which you're always probably going to use Monk of the Tenyi to go into. Then we play 3 copies of Shaman of the Tenyi, which is probably the best one in the entire extra deck. You can discard 1 card, then target a worm monster in your grave and special summon it. Also, for the rest of the turn, you cannot activate the effects. You cannot activate effects of monsters special summon from the extra deck, except Tenyi monsters, which none of them have effects besides her, and the new Synchro monster is going to be coming out of the next set, so, I mean, we don't really activate anything but her effect at this point. And also, when an attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster, and you can target one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. So if you attack with her, like if you attack with Berserker, you can instantly activate her effect and destroy any card on the field. Like, it's just, she's awesome. She is literally awesome. 3 copies of Monk of the Tenyi. This is kind of like your starter of the deck. You always link into this first and then go from there by linking up into like Shaman, unless you can put 2 of, you always link into him. Then you can special summon another Tenyi under him and then link this and the Tenyi that you summon into Shaman. And then Shaman can discard Mare and then bring Mare back and then make 3 tokens and then link one of the tokens away with Shaman into Berserker. And I mean, it snowballs after that. I mean, it literally just snowballs after that. Then I play 1 copy of Boral Sword, which I don't make that often in this deck. And you honestly could change out for Link Kuriboh if you wanted a little bit more of a budget option, because you really just summon Berserker and Shaman and win off of that. Like, you don't have to play Boral Sword here. 1 copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. This card is really, really good in the deck. Basically has the effect that it destroys all effect monsters on the field, and you can destroy as many on the field as possible with attack less than or equal to this card's, and then inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. So if your opponent has 4 effect monsters on the field, and you synchro into this and Berserker, you can OTK them off of Scarlet and Berserker, because this is 6,000 and it doesn't destroy non-effect monsters. So you just synchro into or you link into this, synchro into this, into the one zone that it has under it, destroy all the effect monsters your opponent controls, and then swing 3,000 and 3,000 plus the 2k damage it did with this, and you just win. Then I play 1 copy of Baxia Brightness of the Yangzing. This card is really good because when this card is synchro summoned, you get to target cards on the field up to the number of different attributes that were used to summon this by worms, which is really interesting to be able to do, and then shuffle them in the deck. And then once per turn, you can target 1 card you control and 1 level 4 monster in the graveyard, destroy the monster on your field, and if you do special summon the other monster, which can get you some interesting Tenyi plays, but usually I just use this to shuffle stuff into the deck, and it's a worm monster, so it plays along. Borlard Savage Dragon, because it's easy to make and be able to link like Shaman under it. Ib, the World Chalice Jurisdictor, to search our copy of World Legacy Succession, and Daigusto Emerald, because this card is nuts in this deck. You can make this so easy, and then detach material from this, and then target a non-effect monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Like, you can just instantly summon back Berserker, or instantly special summon back Monk, or instantly special summon back, like, these 2, or, I mean, like, it's just really easy to do, and you can also shuffle your Tenyi monsters back into the deck, and then draw 1 card. And then for the last card I play is 1 copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate to summon off of the Unrivaled Fist of the Tenyi, which is crazy that I can summon this copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate. I'm so glad that I can actually summon this, and it's worth something again, where I can actually summon Blue Eyes Ultimate, and it means something. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below. I'm really excited to see what you guys think about my Tenyi deck. It's a super, super fun deck that I really, really recommend that that you guys play. And this is probably going to be the budget deck of 2019, at least until the new support comes out. And even after the new support comes out, this deck is still functional as is. I mean, you could build a Tenyi deck like this today, even with the new support, and it would still work. I mean, it might not work as well without the new support, but it's still going to work. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell next to become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.